My name is Michael Zähl. We're here at Superbooth 21, and we are showing a new product. It's a headphone amplifier called HM1, and this is a product where we really went to the limits of what is possible with headphone amplification. Headphones get more and more important in the professional range and also in the consumer range. So this is a product which might be find friends in both ranges. A very special feature of that is that it's a Class A amplifier, basically, with very high power capacity in the Class A mode, but we added a feedback circuit to it, which doesn't make it to a Class AB, but it's really it stays a Class A, but feedback is added to it, which gives it an additional quality, makes it very low impedance, very strong. It can get like 7 watt per channel RMS power out, and for impulses which are short, like for 1 millisecond, it can take more than 10 watt. It can deliver more than 10 watt per channel. So any headphone will work perfectly on it.
So it'll drive planar headphones, electrostatics, nothing?
No electrostatics, of course, but it will drive dynamic and planar headphones. Many of those are, meanwhile, they are quite low impedance and they need a lot of power. So this amplifier from that side will not have any problems. It's built with for best performance on frequency response. It goes far beyond the audio range, so it can really guarantee best performance.
When we say beyond audio range, what does it go up to?
We would have a minus 3 dB points at something like 500 kilohertz.
Wow.
So
okay, that's
like
getting into radio waves.
Yeah. Another very special feature is that we have 2 input channels, so it's not two inputs that you select, but it's really 2 input level settings here, 2 stereo inputs, and you can mix them actually. So it's something like a 2-channel mixer, and you can of course swap in between by switching. So this opens several uses. One would be if you want to compare, like you have as a mastering engineer, you would probably like to compare on a reference level. You want to compare 2 mixes. So you connect them to A and B, and it's very important to match levels perfectly.
Are those controls stepped or are they continuous?
No, these are precision potentiometers, so you really can set the level as you like. Then you can switch in between the 2. You can, of course, you could use them as a mixer. So if you're at home, I know many consumers like to compare DACs or whatever as well, but you could you could do something like cross-fading. So you listen to one record or to one, and then do a cross-fading into the next if you like.
Or so just simply switch between the 2 and
just switch
get an instant reference.
Then we have, you could also think about, probably for some pro people, it might be a use that on A you have a certain source, get this processed on another unit and have the processed signal here. So you can have the original here and add some of the processing here. So it's really a lot of use in the studio and at home that you can do with this functionality.
So is that on a separate audio pathway on the outputs as well?
Yes, you can have the headphone signal here, which passes through our amplifier, but the same signal is on the rear available on XLR
Let's
and
go and have a look.
on line, on Kinch. Which is, which is here on that side. So that would be, you could use this unit as a preamp. Alternatively, if you like, you could connect some active speakers there. Or we talked about level matching.
Yeah.
You could connect a PPM there, so to have exact level.
What's the little multi-pin connector I can see there?
That's for an optional remote that will be available for switching AB. So if you don't want to use the switches on the front, you can have like a hand switch, a switch that you have in your hand where you can flip over from source A to
Is that
source
going to
B.
be wireless?
No, no wireless. Our whole design is completely analog and linear. So we have here the power supply, mains transformer is in here, which drives then over the by this cable drives the main unit. As most of our, actually all of our equipment, we are strictly analog, and there's nothing like HF, nothing around there which would disturb this circuitry. As we are on the back, we can probably have a short look on the inputs. There is, we have XLR inputs for A and B and Kinch inputs, and you switch in between balanced and unbalanced for each section separately. And here you have an additional 15 dB gain if you have a source which has a low level. The A input has a through output, which is connected after the preamplification stage here. So this is what I talked about. So you can sort of, you could get the signal out here, go into a processor, come back here,
then come back.
and then mix it.
Interesting.
There are more features here which are quite unique on an amplifier like this. We added shelving filters, like there's a low shelf and a high shelf filters, which do not a lot of gain, because we think, we suppose that the music and the headphones will be very high quality mixes.
What, 2, 3, 5 dB?
Yeah, it's about this range. So you have like 1.5, 3, 4.5, about that range, and we really found frequencies there which will support correction or adaptation. It's more not correction, it's more adapting for the consumers, adapting the sound to the headphones that you have, probably to the music that you listen to. And for the pros, it will be like if by making settings here, the music sounds better, they probably should have a look at the mix, what they are doing. But if the mastering is perfect, it will not show any further improvements here.
Can they be completely bypassed?
Yes, of course. There's this all has this puristic approach, of course, and we have this direct buttons. So if you push those, the whole processing section will be bypassed. This is another very special thing. This is a stereo bass control. In the center section, in the center position, like it's shown here, it's a normal stereo action. If you go to the left, the side signal, so it's probably a bit explanation. It works with by the mid-side principle. So left and right is converted into mid and side. We leave the mid signal as it is. We just control the side signal here. So by turning it to the left, we lower the level of the side signal. All to the left is mono. and those are steps in between stereo and mono. So we narrow the stereo signal. Going to the right, we widen the stereo picture. So the spatial listening will be changed by that. And it's often, some manufacturers use crossfeed, and we decided for that instead. There might be a musical program where, which is okay for loudspeakers, but in headphones it might be irritating if signals are all on one side. And while going to the left, narrowing the stereo picture can help there. On the other side, if the recording is sort of mono-ish or the sound a bit narrow, you can widen the stereo picture. For the pros, it's a good controlling thing.
Can it widen the stereo image wider than the original signal?
Yes, sure. Yeah. That's the trick about MS. So this is also what it has in favor against crossfeed. Crossfeed does only the one direction, while here you can. It can be an ear candy for consumer listening, and it can be a good for mastering engineers. It can be a good control a thing to see what happens. Are there critical things if I go to the extreme? Maybe one last thing to the quality. Of course, there is the power supply is external. Talked about it, showed this before. So mains transformer is in here. We have a complete dual mono design. So it's left preamplification amplifier is on this side, the right is on this side. They are absolutely separate. And if you use the 4-pole XLR output and have a balanced headphone connection, you really have the best result. So each amplifier output only deals with its own system on the other side. So there is no mixture of signal currents like you would have in a unbalanced situation. And this is also has advantages against a balanced amplification, because on a balanced amplifier you have everything by two. You have two outputs which work in counter phase, in reverse phase, while here you only have one output, but as they are dual mono, it's the same it has the same advantages as balanced output, but not the disadvantages of it.
So now we get to this scary question, availability and pricing.
Yeah, these are really built to order. We decided to go for 50 per year, and the price for Germany, including VAT, the retail price will be around 8,000 euro. Actually, 7,999. And we will see how it will be in other countries. We are collecting orders now for the first 50 batch, for the 2021 batch. And we really built them in Germany, in our company and our location. And there's a lot of handwork in there. So I think it was a good compromise to say this will not be a mass product, but this will be a product which is limited
very much bespoke.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. Thank you, Michael.
Okay, thank you.
Have a good show.